Hi guys, it's Kiriko here, back with another speed build. This is a speed build of what originally was a good witch's house. That was the original concept. It could also be kind of read, I guess, as like a good vampire's house or some sort of supernatural creature's house who has, I don't know, good intentions in terms of being a supernatural creature. But I say that in the sense that that was the original concept when I started building this. What it ended up being is just kind of like this fancy Victorian house-ish, kind of Victorian, I don't know. I'm not really sure how to describe this house. It's just kind of a specific aesthetic, and I'm not sure if the supernatural element even really applies anymore with how it turned out. But for now, I'm just gonna call it a good witch's house because I think it can still be read in that way, so just roll with it, I guess. I actually really end up liking the exterior architecture of this house, just in terms of what the build looks like from the outside. And I've said this before, I usually don't like how I do exterior architecture and like big builds and stuff. I usually prefer to do interiors. But I actually am pretty proud of how this exterior turned out, you know, with the roof and the look and the colors. I think it ends up kind of having a nice vibe. And this is a place that I definitely think would be pretty cute. This is kind of similar to a build I did in the past. I'm not sure which one I'm thinking of, but I remember doing a red build house like this. Maybe it's one I didn't post, maybe it's one I did, I don't really remember. But the reason I remember that I've done one like this before is because I remember thinking on that one the same thing I was thinking on this one, which is this looks like the red house from that scene in Series of Unfortunate Events. This is such an obscure reference, and I feel like I've made it before, but I can't quite recall if I have, at least on my channel. But in the Series of Unfortunate Events, there's a scene when the kids, I mean in the first original movie, not the new series with what's his name, Neil Patrick Harris. I mean the original one with Jim Carrey. There's a scene when the kids first come to Count Olaf's house, and they're dropped off at like this lady's house at first, who's his neighbor, and she lives in this like beautiful red house with this lovely garden, and they think that she's like their new caretaker, but it's really like the guy across the street. And I remember, wasn't it, what's her name? Catherine O'Hara, is that her name? I think that actress was that character, I don't quite remember. But anyways, again, such an obscure reference, but I always think of that little red house that she had. That the kids thought that they were gonna live at, but it turned out that they didn't live at there. I'm talking about this like it's a major scene in the movie. It's literally like a 30-second scene, and it's not even plot relevant. It's just something that my brain thinks of from time to time because of how iconic that little red house was to me. Yeah, anyways, let's see what I'm doing with the build. I'm trying to pick out a floor right now. Let's see, what am I doing? Yes, picking out my floor. Yeah, I went with this very lovely tile with the pink and green flowers. And here I'm just putting in some other wallpaper. Fun fact about this build. This is a build that I started a long time ago and only completed like very recently. So it's half of this video exists in a time long before, and the other half of this video exists pretty recently. So two different versions of me were building this, two different stages of my life. Yeah, that happens sometimes with some of my builds where, actually not most of my builds, I'd say probably like only like 5 to 10% of my builds are builds that I started and then left and then came back to. Most of my builds I build all the way through. I just do it and it's done and it's, you know, all together. But on occasion I revisit some old ones that I abandoned for whatever reason. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty cool, and then I just keep building and it ends up being something that I like. I can probably find the marker at what point it skips to the more recent version of me building. Right now this is still in the past. I built all this. I don't know why I abandoned it. There's so many reasons why I abandon builds. Sometimes it's just something about my brain isn't clicking with it. Sometimes it's I've gone too far in a certain direction and I can't, you know, go back, and I just don't like the look of it. Sometimes I just get tired. Sometimes it's, you know, and just a lot of different reasons why I might abandon a build. But sometimes I return to them and then they come back to life, and it's like reviving the dead, I guess. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I'm really tired. I woke up pretty early this morning because my sleep schedule has been so insanely bad lately. Like you would not believe when I'm waking up. But recently, I just kind of decided to fix it just because I wasn't feeling good missing like the entire day. So this morning I decided to fix it. So I woke up very early this morning in an attempt to, I don't know, reset my circadian rhythm, I guess. So let's hope that it works. I really want it to work. I don't want to keep waking up very late in the day. I want to be an early riser. I think it's a very nice thing to be an early riser. I am so jealous of people who just naturally wake up at like 8 a.m. That's so amazing. But I'm working on it. I'm working to become that person. I guess it's my New Year's resolution to wake up early. Anyways, as you can see, I'm setting up a desk/office area here. There is a skull on it, and that is because I was still kind of going with like the good witch or good vampire kind of idea. And I thought that the skull would be like a slight touch towards the supernatural, or like a slight hint of maybe just a little bit of a dark vibe. There's nothing particularly good about this build that makes it indicate that the person living here is good. So when I say like good witch or good vampire, it's purely just in my brain's characterization. Like the person who lived here could totally be absolutely awful. It could be like a terrible witch or like a very evil vampire. And there's nothing about the build that would indicate otherwise. It's just my brain concept saying, oh, they're a nice person. That's why they live in a very pretty red house, because if they were mean, they wouldn't deserve this pretty red house that I gave them, I guess. I don't know. Man, I don't know how you guys listen to me talk. I feel like sometimes I ramble and I ramble. I don't even talk about my build sometimes. I just talk about my life and all the very exciting things that happen in my life, like fixing my sleep schedule. Anyways, we're in the kitchen now. This is still in the old part of the build. I believe that coming up is when I switch to me doing it in the modern times. Here, there we go. Now this is me returning to the build. This is me like re-looking at everything and reminding myself what I'm doing, setting up the little half bath here on the side of the dining room. This house actually has a really nice layout. Like I like the floor plan that I went with. Yeah, I really like the floor plan. It feels kind of realistic the way it's laid out. And that's always a good thing, I think, is finding something that feels real, feels natural, like there's an actual flow to the house and the space. Because the way that I build is I build my exteriors first, and then I do my floor plans on the inside, which I know isn't how all builders do it. Some builders do their floor plans and then build from there, but I just prefer doing it this way. So sometimes what ends up happening is my floor plans can look a little weird sometimes, just because of like exterior window placement and just the way the building is shaped. But it actually really worked out in this build, and I really like how it looks, so yay. Win for me on this day. Setting up the living room now. I'm actually really happy with how this living room turned out. I feel like it's kind of cozy, but still got that like luxurious kind of vibe. The person who lives here is definitely rich. Like there's like gold paintings and everything's gold, and there's so much like old money in this build. This could be like an old money Victorian house or something like that. It's got that kind of vibe. There's no TV. I just put these two little portraits here. Like people are gonna sit on the couch and stare at those portraits. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I'm just technology adverse when it comes to interior design, because I don't always like the look of technology. Or maybe it's just like my particular custom content. I don't necessarily love how the tech fits into my builds. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. Is anyone else like that? Like sometimes a TV just doesn't look aesthetic to me. So I don't always put TVs in. Yeah, anyways, I'm almost about finished here. I'm just finishing up the hallway, which I just keep pretty simple. And yeah, that is the entire build. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. Those of you who have requested things, it's on my list. It will happen. I'm sorry, I'm just very slow. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.